You talked about political corruption, and I'm deeply concerned about the way we're funding campaigns in this country. Would you change the way we fund elections so that voters can own elections and have more influence, and not just 12 mega donors, 6 on each side, that are controlling the influence in Washington?
Money in politics stinks. And the only thing that's worse than money in politics is being the person who has to try to raise the money. We guarantee you. Like, it is one of the worst things I have to do to be able to do this. Because I don't want to ask anybody for anything. I really don't, except for your vote. And I am asking for that. But here's the problem, right? Constitution guarantees free speech. Supreme Court said that money is speech, your ability to endorse someone and help them. Here's what I would do to change it. I would take all the limits off of contributions, because I think about this now. And Mary Pat is like my lead fundraiser, because no one says no to her. It's really great. But she's my lead fundraiser. You're running for president of the United States. You have to raise money, $3,300 a person, maximum, to run across this entire country. It's crazy. I would take all the limits off it, but 48-hour disclosure. So if some rich guy or woman writes me a $20 million check, you go on my website, you know about it immediately. And if all of a sudden I change my position from where I was to where that person is, you can make your own judgment and reach your own conclusion. And I trust you to do that. But every attempt we've made to keep money out of politics doesn't work. So McCain-Feingold got passed all those years ago, right? That was going to fix everything. It's worse now than it ever was, because now you have these groups that everybody sets up where we don't even have to tell you who the donors are. And you don't even know. And it is a destructive system. So let's stop pretending that we can take money out of politics, because everything costs money. This costs money tonight. Like, we had to pay here at the VFW. We had to pay for the folks that are here, the staff, the cameras, all the rest of the stuff that we have. We had to pay for that. So everything you do in politics costs money. So we can't take money out. But what we can do is what Chris said before, transparency. Like, if you know where I'm getting my money from, then you can evaluate every utterance that comes out of my mouth and say, like, this is what he really thinks, or is this what the guy who gave him 30 million thinks? I think that's the core of what the corruption you're talking about. Because when you don't know that, you don't know whether I really believe what I'm saying and will do it, or whether I'm just following some donor who gave me a lot of money. In the end, I think that's the only way to fix this. I don't know if do you have other ideas on campaign finance?
Yeah, I'll add this, and I'll give only the perspective because we're a small state. When U.S. Senate race runs here, $40 million is spent. 99% of it is raised outside of this state. That drives me crazy. And those folks do not have our interest at heart. I have a slightly different approach. I'll say this: I hate super PACs. It's because that's where the dark money comes in. I don't hate advocacy groups, don't get me wrong, but I hate that folks create advocacy groups that effectively create these other avenues to put tons of money. A lot of it's dark money. Some of it's disclosed, some of it's not. And I'd say this: you have a candidate, you have a campaign, you have a transparency right there. Everyone gets one candidate, one campaign committee, complete transparency on where all those dollars, as the governor talked about, and get rid of all this other nonsense. And if those folks, because that's not limiting free speech, if those folks want to give, they can give to the candidate. But you can't do these shadow dark market nonsense. McCain-Feingold opened that door. It absolutely has to be shut, because then you're voting on that candidate based on their message and their message alone. Well, they can put money behind it, right? We could put however much money they want, but it's still their message and their candidacy, and not being driven by all those outside forces. So that's it. I think it's a great idea.
We agree. And by the way, then you can hold us responsible.